Two of the Simulation Football League's best teams through 4 weeks square off in a Sunday evening showdown in South Dakota. It's a classic matchup of elite defense versus elite offense as the Sioux Falls Sparrows face the London Knights in each team's toughest test yet. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Liberty Park in South Dakota. Alongside producer extraordinaire Chairman Irvine, our statisticians Dwayne Schindler and Chris Porter, and my partner Jay Hayden, I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on Twitch. Happy to have you with us. Pleasure to be here with you tonight, Jay, for what is likely to be one of the best matchups here in Week 5.
Yeah, no question about it. All due respect to the hockey team in Dallas and our very own team up north in Minnesota. Tonight, there's no question about it. We have the legends and we have the icons here in this game in Sioux Falls. You're talking Johnny Pickler. You're talking Julian Tyree. You're talking Terrence Weary. You're talking Robert Merrill. You're talking AJ Levy. I mean, the names go on and on, Tim. I know you're going to get into it once the game starts and talk about all the players we've got, all the stars we've got here tonight. But this is going to be one heck of a battle. The number one offense versus the number one scoring defense. I mean, what else do you need to say about London and Sioux Falls tonight? We're hoping to see one heck of a battle, and there's no doubt in my mind that's what we're going to see here tonight, Tim.
You and I joked about it before the game, Jay. The storyline writes itself. We don't have to just say very good offense against very good defense. Literally, you're looking at the best offense in London versus the best defense, Sioux Falls, in terms of points per game and in terms of rushing yards per game. It's number one versus number one. It's 4-0 London against 3-1 Sioux Falls. Two of the longest tenured franchises in the league meet up for just the fourth time in league history. London will kick it off, and we are underway in Week 5 of Season 19 of the Simulation Football League. The ageless wonder, AJ Levy, on this return, one of the many stars, as Jay mentioned, that are on the field and starting to dot the sky here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota tonight. And AJ Levy will help Sioux Falls start from the 28. So here's a look at the Sioux Falls offense for Jason McGee, who's once again the head coach of this team. Julian Tyree is the quarterback, his 14th season. Rookie tailback Marcus Duncan, fullback Charlemagne Cornelius, 4 wide receivers, and 2 offensive linemen. For Julian Tyree, who lines up under center, I formation and a couple of tight ends. First play of the game, Tyree will drop it back and toss it out to Marcus Duncan. Spin move and a pickup of 5 through the air, and that's something we've seen a lot this season, Jay.
Yeah, it is, and that wasn't even a name that I mentioned during the start. Marcus Duncan, the rookie, comes in and makes big plays, and that's what he's done all season long. You get the ball out to him in the flats, man, it's very difficult to stop him once he gets going.
SFL's leading receiver in terms of catches among all players, not just tailbacks. That was catch number 50. This is Sioux Falls game number 5. Play action for Tyree, gonna load it up, deep bomb, and overshoots his receiver. That's A.J. Warren, the veteran, his 9th season as a wideout here for Sioux Falls, and Tyree just missed.
Yeah, they're going to connect more often than they're not. I mean, it's very few times you're going to see Julian Tyree overthrow any of his receivers, particularly A.J. Warren, considering, as you mentioned, they've been together for as long as they have.
So look at Jeff Gagne, the middle linebacker for London, having a great season so far. First third down opportunity for Sioux Falls. That's more like it for Tyree. Across the 50-yard line they go. Noe Terrazas with the catch, first down.
Beautiful pass, beautiful catch. There, he just got into the open space on that little quick post route. That's something that you're going to see pretty often here with this Sioux Falls team. They're going to find the open spaces. Why? Because they've got a ton of talent and they've got a ton of experience in the black and yellow.
That was one of the things they ran so well, something I figured we would talk about this week, Jay. Last week against Indianapolis, they ran those middle post shots over the middle to perfection. Tyree links up with Duncan once again for a gain of 2. Here are those 4 wideouts that Jay mentioned. You just saw Noe Terrazas on the catch, A.J. Warren along with K. Marion and the rookie Michael Knights, and the offensive line anchored by left guard Johnny Van Man and right guard Moose Mitchell. And a gain to Terrazas went for 21 yards. Sioux Falls has been good on third downs on offense. London has not been good on third downs on defense, one of their few blemishes so far this year. 2nd and 8, another pass to Duncan, and another short gain, back-to-back gains of 2.
Yeah, once again, we're going to see that a good bit, but, London's got an incredibly intelligent and incredibly quick defense. They're going to catch on to those little screen passes before long, and if they continue to do that, if Sioux Falls continues to do that, they're not going to get a ton of yards on those little flat plays.
London has given up 61% on third downs. That is fourth highest in the league, and they're already 0 for 1 defending third downs here this evening. Tyree short drop, quick throw, and that's short. London will make that stop, aided by a short route run by Sioux Falls. Warren on the catch, fourth down.
Yeah, let's see what Sioux Falls decides to do. It looks like they're trotting out the kicker, the punter here in this situation. But let's see if they actually decide to go for it, or at least gets London to try to jump off sides. It looks like that's what they're going to try to do here.
First drive of the game, what do you do? Looks like
I'm not sure they're actually going to run a play. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to try to get him to jump here.
Yeah. Two fullbacks and a running back for Tyree. You can hear him with that hard count, and now he will use the tight end. So I'll tee up my question that I didn't time very well again to you, Jay. It's your first drive of the game against London, one of the two unbeaten teams in the league. They're trying to make a statement. Both teams really trying to make a statement here today. What's your thought process here as a head coach?
You're at the opponent's 38-yard line. It's 4th and 1. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit more of a gambling man than I should be, but I think I'll probably try to go for it there. Now, I don't blame them for, just trying to get them to jump off sides. Hey, they call a timeout. It's the first quarter. I mean, so they're not really losing a ton as they would if it was later on in the ball game.
Sammy Prefontaine will come on to punt after the timeout. Fair catch called for by Terrence Weary, who has to adjust and make the catch after that punt. He's been one of the most effective punt returners in the SFL so far through 4 games, just his sophomore season. So now our first look at the London Knights offense. And typically when you start to introduce a team's offense, you'll start by discussing the starting quarterback. And everybody in this league knows Johnny Pickler is his 6th total season, 3rd here with London, and he's working on a really, really good campaign. But the star of this London offense is the guy a few yards behind him, Robert Merrill, who is putting together one of the best seasons that any running back has in recent history. And no surprise, Robert Merrill will get the first play of the game for London's offense, and he runs right into the thick of the Sioux Falls defense. Gain of 1, stopped by Nick Fargo.
Yeah, this Sioux Falls defense is not going to have any of that running game from the, I would say, the leading candidate right now for the MVP and Robert Merrill. They're going to be crashing down on him really quickly.
Completely agreed on that. Number 1 in the league in carries, yards, and rushing touchdowns. Pickler will throw. That's nicely done. First down and a gain of about 14. That's Terrence Weary. We just saw him on the punt return. He gets his first catch.
Yeah, the former Los Angeles Lycan there in the middle of the field, 6'4", 215. And again, as we mentioned, they've got weapons all over the field. Their best player, at least this season, wasn't on the field, and it didn't matter. They still were able to get the first down there. Great play call.
Now let's see if they go back with Merrill. They will pack the line a little bit. This is a formation we've seen quite a bit with Tiberius Bovine, the veteran former tight end turned fullback, leading the way. They get Sioux Falls to jump. Here goes Merrill running through the muck and somehow picks up about 5 on the ground. So this will all be a wash. It sure looked like an offsides. First look today at Ref 62, everyone's favorite member of the SFL, and no surprise, we're 1 for 1 on penalty calls tonight, offsides against Biff Markham, and so now another decision for the head coaches here. Jay, do you take the penalty or do you take the play?
Yeah, I think you take the play just because of the amount of yards that he was able to give. But I think that's one of those plays with Sioux Falls. Again, you've got that anxiousness. You've got that, that sort of anxiety. They want to get to Robert Merrill as early and often as they can.
Looks like they took the penalty, and so Merrill will now run it on 1st and 5. Sidestep across the 50-yard line. Away
He's gone.
And he is gone. One man can stop him, and he will. John Barnhart just ran down Robert Merrill inside the 10-yard line. He looked ticketed to touchdown number 11, but John Barnhart says not so fast.
Yeah, he caught him at the end, but good God, look at that speed burst from Robert Merrill. I mean, you give him a sliver of opening, and he gets down the field in the blink of an eye. Fortunately for Sioux Falls, they were able to get him at the 9 before he was able to get into pay dirt. But man, it doesn't take him any time at all to bust down that field.
Unbelievable run, but an unbelievable stop by the corner, John Barnhart. Back they go. Merrill running inside this time, breaks through a tackle, and Pyle driven down by Terrell Davis after a gain of 7.
Yeah, great run again and great hole again for London. I mean, we talked so extensively about these skill players for London, but man, that offensive line for London is one of the best, if not the best, we have here in the SFL.
4 standouts now on the line. London has really invested in that position, and so far this season it has paid off. From the 2, with the fullback leading, here's Merrill, and he scores. It took a couple of extra plays, but Robert Merrill makes good. He is into the end zone once again, rushing touchdown number 11 on the season.
And we can talk extensively again about some of the simplistic stuff, but look at this blocking here. There's nobody near him. I mean, and when there was anybody near them, they all had a white hat on them, and there was nothing that they could do about it. I mean, this London offense is clicking on all cylinders, and they've been doing it all season long. This is a very dangerous team.
First pass rusher was the rush rusher in that play, right? But he got into the backfield, and instead of meeting with Robert Merrill, to your point, he ran into Tiberius Bovine, the fullback, and then after that, there was nobody close. Oh, the PAT blocked! Wow, that is a killer for London. How many blocked PATs have we seen already this season? JT Delaney can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. I think in his mind, he's thinking this is the easiest little chip shot he's going to have all season long. And unfortunately, on his very first try of the game, it gets blocked by the team in black. But but still, that is a very successful drive. That's how you want it to end in terms of ending in 6 points as a touchdown. Obviously, you want the extra point, but great drive nonetheless for London.
Field goal kickers have only missed about a half dozen kicks so far, as Levy nearly wrenches through to get past the 30-yard line. There have only been about a half dozen missed field goals by place kickers through 4.5 weeks of games, but I feel like we've had about that many missed PATs, and all missed PATs in the SFL are blocks. It's crazy how much pressure people can get on kickers on PATs, which, like you said, are supposed to be chip shots and are normally gimmies, especially because of the quality of kickers we have in this league, as proven by how few field goals they've missed. It's just crazy how many blocks we've seen. Sioux Falls will have to play from behind, so Julian Tyree will throw to the bottom of the field, and there's Kay Marion with her first catch of the game and a gain of 8.
Yeah, we've talked about those little skinny post routes that Sioux Falls loves to run. But another thing that they love to run, which a lot of teams here in the SFL do enjoy running because of the success that you'll have doing, is those little out routes. Kay Marion's one of the best in the league at doing just that.
London drive went 6 plays for 87 yards, 5 rushes, 1 pass, capped off by that 2-yard run for Merrill. That one big play went for 58 yards, according to our stats team. 2nd and 2, Tyree zips it. Tight window and a nice catch out towards midfield.
Yeah, that was definitely a beautiful pass and beautiful catch there. Again, they're going to find those spaces. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. London gets all the credit and all the accolades and all the talk for that offense, but that defense is incredible. Sioux Falls is able to find success here in the middle of the field.
That had been Marion again, back-to-back catches for her, 3rd year as the number 1 wideout now for Sioux Falls. From just outside of midfield, another short pass. Terrazas again on that catch. And a gain of 4. Here is the London defense for head coach Liam Crowder. This secondary, as Jay just alluded to, is really good. Corners, Emmanuel Blackman, Tanner Hendricks, and Brandon Ewing, with the safeties Anthony Wyo and Jack Russell. Linebackers Jeff Gagne, Telemac Scarborough, and Tony Roberto. And on the line, William Davidson, Selwyn Lane, and Cam Frosby, the league leader in sacks with 7.5 through 4 games. Here's Duncan, sidestep move, and a nice run for Marcus Duncan. His best run of the day, gain of 9, 1st down, Sparrows.
Did you see that beautiful juke there from Marcus Duncan? What a juke. Watch how he gets through his hole here, finds a defender and says, no, get away. Great juke. Now, granted, he ended up getting tackled anyway, but that was a beautiful juke move towards the end. Great agility shown by Marcus Duncan. I'm sure that's not the last time we'll see that either.
A slow start for Duncan on the ground this season, only 209 rushing yards coming into today. That was 4th last among all qualified running backs. Average of 3.5 yards per carry, give him 9 there. On the ground they go again. That is Duncan. This is a patented Sioux Falls setup, kind of a split backfield. They've got 2 ball carriers back there in Duncan and the fullback Cornelius, but at time it's Duncan with the give and a gain of 3.
Yeah, and listen, we've talked about Julian Tyree, but there's no doubt about it. Sioux Falls is going to be one of the best teams you want to go to. If you're a rookie running back, fullback, go to Sioux Falls. They're going to utilize you, I promise.
No doubt. They used GP Wells a lot last year. Couldn't keep him, though, in the offseason, so they needed another rookie running back. Enter Marcus Duncan, who gets the give here, breaks out of the first tackle, and then gets thrown down for a big loss, losing almost all the yardage he picked up on the previous play. And there's the aforementioned Cam Frosby, who's having a killer third season with London.
Yeah, Cam Frosby cleaning up there, but the initial contact came from William Davison. He just blew up the running back in the backfield there.
Used to be a tandem on the inside on defensive tackles, but Davidson moves to the outside, paving the way for Frosby to be the star of the show. 3rd and 8 for Tyree, into traffic, swatted, and nearly picked. Looked like a member of each team had their hands on it, but it will be 4th down.
Watch this replay. This 3-2 defense London plays here is dangerous. I mean, number 21 there, Jack Russell, had been making plays his entire career, second season here in London. But he just gets up about 40 inches off the ground and just makes the play there to ensure that they get a 4th and 8 here. And now decision time for Sioux Falls.
Russell has been sensational this year. I mean, he's been great ever since he has returned to London, kind of made his name playing in D.C. and then returned back to London, the team with which he started ahead of last season, made the All-Star game for the second time in his career, and is off to another really good start. So Sioux Falls will punt it for the second time from just about the same area of the field as the first time, and there's no chance for Terrence Weary, who is the league's leader in punt return yards through 4 games. He can't do anything with that one either. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website, www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. So far, it's been a season of fantasy for Robert Merrill, who nearly breaks through that tackle, but then 2 other Sparrows are there to bring him down, limiting him to a paltry gain of 3.
Yeah, Sioux Falls needs to thank their lucky stars that they have the Hall of Famer A.J. Levy there in that backfield there to make those plays. I mean, because if not, Robert Merrill would probably still be running once again. Already has a 58-yard run. That one will probably match the previous run.
Close to 850 rushing yards. This is just his 5th game of the season. Wrapped up nicely. Great tackle. That's Biff Markham, the defensive end. Let's introduce you to the rest of the Sioux Falls defense. On the line, Markham and James Kelly. On the interior, Darius Hawkins and Mike Wagoner. The linebackers, Nick Fargo, Derek Williams, and Jason Strongbow. The secondary is a good one. John Barnhart, Nathan Barnett, Terrell Davis, the corners. The safeties, Jay Ringgold, A.J. Levy, and the rookie, Jukin Rukin Jr. 3rd down and 6 here for London. Pickler lofts it into quadruple coverage, and it is ripped down by that aforementioned great Sparrow secondary. Interception number 4 for John Barnhart.
Honestly, Tim, that was just a bad decision there from Pickler. I mean, now, granted, he's not going to make a ton of those bad decisions throughout the course of a game. He does trust his arm. I mean, we all know he trusts his arm just as much as anybody else does. That's just one of those decisions that you just can't make, especially in your own territory.
As you alluded to, Pickler has been a quarterback that's been known to air it out over the course of his career, but that's just his 4th interception this season, game number 5 for London. And if you're new to this league, that is just a paltry number. Quarterbacks tend to throw like 2 interceptions per game on average, but Pickler now with 4 interceptions in 4+ games. That's crazy. He had one of the 5 highest interception totals last season en route to an All-Star appearance. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, having another really good season even with Merrill playing as well as he has. Sioux Falls gains 1 on 1st down and a nice pickup there on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd and shorts.
Yeah, that was a great job there running. Again, that little out route. Sioux Falls is going to do that all game long. But what I really love there is after the out route was ran there from A.J. Warren, he stopped on a dime to try to get upfield rather than run out of bounds, and it allowed him to get an extra 2 or 3 yards.
8 yards on the play for Warren, and now 3rd down and 1. Another 3rd down here for Sioux Falls. They've got that one. Duncan with the spin move right to the 20-yard line.
Great run, great hole. And he was able to get the yards that he needed there once again. This is going to be an awesome.
First successful third down conversion for Sioux Falls here this evening. Just inside the red zone, Tyree will toss it back up to Duncan. Similar play that we've seen quite a bit so far in this game and quite a bit so far this season. And that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Once Robert Merrill touchdown, what else is new? His 16th total score this season. That's the difference. London 6, Sioux Falls, no score. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by 8 p.m. Music on Twitch. Welcome back to Liberty Park, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tim Hackett and Jay Hayden in the booth. Happy to have you with us. Prime matchup in prime time on a Sunday evening. Sioux Falls in the red zone for the first time, and Tyree will toss it back out to Marcus Duncan, who gets shoved down at the end of the run. Telemax Scarborough taking no prisoners, but he had another catch in this first half for Marcus Duncan.
Great job there for Sioux Falls. Listen, 3rd and 1 here. Down deep in London territory. And it looks like they're coming out in heavy set. I think they're going to try to get the ball to Marcus Duncan once again here.
5 carries, 5 catches for Duncan today. Do they go to him again? They do. It's a little behind him, but he gets the first down anyway. Wrenched down out of bounds by Jack Russell, but another third down conversion for Sioux Falls.
Rinse and repeat, right, Tim? I mean, I think we're seeing the same thing over and over again. Get the ball out to Marcus Duncan in open field, see what he can do. And so far, so good. It looks like it's working out for him.
Caught 2 touchdown passes from Tyree last week against Indianapolis. Those 2 touchdowns mathematically ended up being the difference in a 30-14 Sparrows win, and both of them came on plays just like that. From right about this distance as well. From the 6. Duncan's not running. Instead, Tyree will throw, and A.J. Warren has the catch. First touchdown of the season for the veteran A.J. Warren. This game is tied.
That's the second time this drive, Tim, that we see A.J. Warren. Watch this. He catches the ball on this out route, very quick out route, and immediately he stops before he gets out of bounds, before he allows his momentum to carry him out of bounds. He stops and he's able to get upfield. That's the kind of A1 agility that you're going to see from these Sioux Falls Sparrows players. You're not going to see that from a lot of players in the SFL. A.J. Warren's one of those guys who's able to do that and able to put points on the board for his team.
I noticed, Jay, is that London still has their linebackers out there in coverage. That was Tony Roberto, number 98 in the white and gold. That was the guy in the flats, and Warren just put him through the spin cycle and then hit the reverse and went back on the out route, and there was no way that Tanner Hendricks, who's a great corner, was going to be able to have the closing speed to catch up to him after that. Easy 6.
Easy 6. He doesn't have enough time, as you mentioned. I mean, you're so close to the end zone at that point. There's nothing that you can do once he catches the ball there. Touchdown, Sioux Falls.
First touchdown this season for A.J. Warren, who used to really be a figurehead in this offense. It used to be Warren and Gunnar Lewis headlining the show for Julian Tyree and company, but over his last 3 seasons, deep kick from Zashtel Black, that was impressive. His last 3 seasons, Warren has caught exactly 2 touchdown passes every year, and here in game number 5, that's touchdown number 1 for Warren. So Robert Merrill is the headliner here for London. No question about it. The league leader in rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and rushing average. 94 carries, 787 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and before today, a rushing average of 8.4 yards per carry, a number that has only gone up through the first 12 minutes of game time here this evening. Pickler to throw. Nicely done. Top of the screen. That's caught by Fox Highwind. So the other number 15, this time for London, makes a catch on an out route.
Yeah, it's funny how how this works out, right? You see 15 on one side run a beautiful out route, and now 15 on the other side run a beautiful out route. But let's think about this for a second, Tim. And maybe at this point during the season, maybe we should be used to this. 5th game of the season. We're in the second quarter here. That was Johnny Pickler's 3rd pass of the game. 3rd pass. This London team has just changed completely from what they've done over the last few seasons.
No kidding. Last season, Pickler led the league in passing attempts. This season, he's 23rd. He will throw it here. There's Merrill with the catch. Shades of London old, and a spin move for Robert Merrill. He gets 8 through the air. This is how this London team used to function, Jay.
Yeah, but for anybody who, again, if you're new to this and you see number 20 there in the backfield and you're wondering why are we talking so extensively about him, that's why. You see those spin moves, it took all those black jerseys to bring him down. He's an incredible talent.
The ground they go. Merrill runs into the traffic once again. Barnhart is having an insane first half. He was the first man that met him, and then Terrell Davis, Nick Fargo, etc. helped to bring him down.
Yeah, and Jay Ringo in there as well. I mean, yeah, this defense, man, they're trying to make plays in the backfield as often as they can, and that's what they're going to have to do here if they want to stop number 20 in the backfield.
Mentioned London has been poor defensively on third down. Sioux Falls has been fantastic. Opponents convert just 33%, best in the league. They will run it on third down, and there is that Sparrow defense. Mike Wagner was there, so was Biff Markham. They try to go to Robert Merrill on third down, no dice.
And what I love that the Sioux Falls coaching staff did there, they decided to go ahead and slant that defensive line towards the side that they were running the ball. They've obviously watched film here because that entire line slanted towards the direction that they were running. Great play call there from Sioux Falls.
Third down conversions, we mentioned the strength of the Sioux Falls defense. Returnable here for A.J. Levy, never mind. The third down offense is really the only blemish, if you can call it that, on London. They're top 10 in just about every offensive category, top 5 in most of those, but third down conversion rate, just 53%. That's right in line with league average, so that's certainly not bad, but it's just league average for a team that is top of the league, or near the top at least, in just about everything else. So Sioux Falls wins out on that attempt. Remember, the blocked PAT could be big. That's what's given Sioux Falls the lead here. Single back set for Julian Tyree. Looks to throw, sees some pressure, now will throw and completes it again. Noe Terrazas with another out route, gain of 11, first down.
Yeah, how often do you want to pass the ball to your 6'6", 235-pound wide receiver? I guess the answer to that question would be as often as you can. I mean, he's going to be much larger than anybody else that's going to be guarding him on the field. He's going to win that battle more times than not.
Fantastic point. He used to be a tight end. Sioux Falls doesn't have any rostered tight ends anymore as Duncan gets absolutely destroyed. Plastered back near the line of scrimmage. His man's still down. It's Telly-Mac Scarborough.
Yeah, they put about 8, maybe even 9 men in the box that time to make sure that number 20, Marcus Duncan, wasn't going to get any yards there. Great defense from this speedy London defense.
Kind of a slow season statistically for Telly-Mac Scarborough, who has one of the best names in the SFL, but he just laid the wood on Duncan there. 2nd and 10, Tyree, another dot, another first down. This Sioux Falls offense is clicking once again. That's Warren on the grab again.
Yeah, and they're just taking advantage of the open field there. I mean, look, you see on the replay, the field is not – you've got one player there in the middle of the field, but he's not going to win that battle there against A.J. Warren. He just isn't. A.J. Warren's going to be a better athlete most of the time than anybody else who's going to be guarding him, and there he just makes the play on that post route. Great job there from Sioux Falls.
It's already close to superseding his receiving yards total from all of last year if he keeps this up today. First down, Tyree, that's right in the breadbasket. Nicely done. And Miles Portis, one of the tight ends, is on that catch. We mentioned that Sioux Falls has not invested very heavily in the tight end position. They have in the past, that's for sure. Terrazas, as we mentioned, a former tight end, but no investment into that position this year, Jay, which is a little bit unusual.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit different from what Sioux Falls normally does, but it hasn't really impacted their ability to still be successful offensively.
Now, they're still, of course, 3-1, even with that. Tyree will throw. Duncan with that catch, and he gets the first down. 21 versus 21. Jack Russell with the hit, and just barely past the sticks.
Yeah, at some point, I think what London's going to have to do is they're going to have to bring those corners up or bring up those outside linebackers to stop those sort of flat screen plays. Otherwise, they're going to continue to have success on those.
6 carries, 7 catches for Marcus Duncan here in the second quarter overall. Warren again on that catch, floats back, calls it in.
Same thing there. Out route there from A.J. Warren. He gets to the spot that he needs to get to. They're going to have to either bump those wide receivers or just get somebody into that flat zone to just stay there and wait for the ball to come their way.
Warren had career lows last season in catches and yards. 32 catches for 264 yards. He's about 30 yards away now, counting today's success, from breaking that yardage total that he set last season in 12 games. 2nd and 5. Duncan tries to crack outside, and he runs into Mr. Jeff Gagne himself, working on a career season as London's middle linebacker.
Yeah, heck of a play there from Gagne. But one thing that won't be talked about on that play, number 98, Tony Roberto, just made sure that he was not able to get his outside shoulder outside of that defense. I loved the job that they did there defensively.
3 tackles for Gagne before today. That was most on the team. Another third down here for Tyree. Going to lock and load over the middle, and it's ripped away and intercepted. Jack Russell has another one, number 5 this season for him. What a play that was.
Jack Russell has been making plays all game long. Look, he's just watching the eyes of the quarterback. He knows where he's going with the ball the entire time. He gets up, once again, shows that vertical leap. I mean, I guess he's just trying to show us, he's trying to show out at this point and show just how high he can jump. Once he batted the ball down, this time he comes down with it. Great defense there from Jack Russell.
Talk about stacking the stat sheet. Before today, 4 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, 2 tackles for loss as a strong safety. Impressive numbers. Look out, Robert Merrill can't look down even for a second with him on the field this year. A gain of 11. That gets London out of the danger zone.
Yeah, it's cliche, Tim, but it's the truth. You blink your eye and he's gone. I mean, just watch. It's great blocking. I mean, there's no question about it. We've said it often as needed, about this London this London offensive line, but when you've got a running back that's as quick and as talented as Robert Merrill, it doesn't take much at all for him to get loose.
Close to 100 yards already, and we're about halfway through the second quarter of this game. Pickler will throw, open to the top of the screen. That's Merrill out of the backfield, spin move, and lowers the shoulder to try to break through, but Jason Strongbow, living up to his name, able to wrench him down.
Yeah, giving Sioux Falls a little bit of their own medicine. They're just throwing the ball out there on a little screen play, little flat route, get about 9 yards. They continue to do that. They're going to inch their way on down the field. And before we know it, they're going to be in Sioux Falls territory.
Second season here in Sioux Falls for Jason Strongbow, who was a middle linebacker last year, moves over to take one of the vacant outside spots this year. 2nd and 1, Pickler will throw. Merrill again with the catch and another first down. We owe you an introduction to the London offense. You've heard a lot about Robert Merrill so far, and of course Johnny Pickler. Here's everybody else. Tiberius Bovine is the fullback. Wide receivers Vin Calia, Terrence Weary, and Fox Highwind. The tight end is Benji Matson, and here are those 4 standouts on the offensive line. Left tackle Anthony Anderson, left guard Perrin Ibarra, right guard Demetrius Farmer, and center Wallace DeMorinville Jr. From the 33, Pickler alone in the gun this time. Over the middle he goes, and it's bobbled and dropped. Hit his target in the hands. That was Clyde Jones, one of the tight ends. And that's what happens if one of your non-starters is the one who's trying to make a catch.
Yeah, they've got a lot of stars on this team, unfortunately. I mean, 80 is not one of them. Non-contract player there they're trying to get the ball to, and maybe just to kind of catch this defense off guard there because they're probably not thinking a ton about number 80. Unfortunately, he's not able to catch the ball either.
You got to have that if you're Johnny Pickler and go for number 40. That's Matson instead of number 80, Clyde Jones. Now they will have it again and go to Robert Merrill, and that's more like it. Another gain of 9 for Robert Merrill, who's up to 95 rushing yards already.
I mean, this guy, have a career, have a season, do whatever you want, Robert Merrill, because clearly you can. The acceleration is ridiculous.
He's already set career highs in rushing yards through just 4 games, and now he's close to 1,000 rushing yards, which would, of course, be the first time ever. There he goes again across the other 40-yard line and taken out of bounds by Levy at the 35-yard line. He is 100 rushing yards away from his first 1,000-yard season, and this is just his 5th game.
Tim, you know what you don't want if you're Sioux Falls or any defense? You don't want your free safety or strong safety or any safety leading the team in tackles in a game. Why? Because that means that the other team is getting the ball down the field. Right now, A.J. Levy is leading the team in tackles because he's having to hit Robert Merrill every single time when he gets about 10 or 15 yards down the field.
Over 100 rushing yards now for Merrill, which is impressive against this team. Pickler will throw. Quick out route caught by Highwind for a game of 6, who blows over. Or check that's Vin Calia on the catch, his first grab today. And as Chad Rowland, the former London head coach, points out in the chat, something we were going to get to, Sioux Falls is currently winning the points battle. We mentioned they're the number 1 team in the league in terms of points allowed. They're also the number 1 team in the league in terms of rush yards per game allowed. 47 rushing yards per game on average through 4 weeks. Merrill's over 110. Add a few more. There he goes, and thrown down. He looked like he had daylight. Pushed down after a short game by Derek Williams.
I don't think London cares anything about that whatsoever. You can be the best run defense if you want. London could care less. We're going to run the ball on you. Why? Because we have an incredible offensive line. We have an incredible fullback. We've got incredible tight ends. And we got one hell of a running back in the backfield.
Unbelievable. He's close to 150 now. 2 minutes left in the first half. We've got the dogfight we expected. It's Sioux Falls 7, London 6. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on Twitch. An all-time great season for Robert Merrill brewing, mostly for him, but also in terms of the SFL. One of the best running back seasons we've seen from anybody in recent history. They will go to him again out of the 2-minute warning. Sioux Falls was ready for that one. No gain. That drops Merrill's average down to 9.4. That's pitiful. Last week in London's win at Motor City, it was a lopsided win, 38-14, but the V8s held Merrill to a season-low 103 rushing yards. He did score 3 total touchdowns, but only 150 total yards of offense. He's already close to that here in the first half. Trying to track outside, and a spin move somehow turns that into something. Mike Wagner makes the tackle.
Terrell Davis is one of the best cornerbacks we have in the league. He's been one of the best for 7 seasons. And there he was just lost trying to tackle Robert Merrill in open field there. But it's no offense to him. Everybody is, and everybody has been all season.
Hard to blame him. Pickler threw it right into the hands of Jukin Rukin Jr. Welcome to the SFL. The rookie has his first career interception, and it's a red zone takeaway against Johnny Pickler.
Yeah, Johnny just did not see Jukin Rukin Jr. there in the middle of the field. I know what he was trying to do. He wanted to go as quickly as he could there to his wide receiver. It looked like he had an opportunity to get into the end zone there. Unfortunately, he just didn't see him. He just didn't see number 25 in black. Interception for Sioux Falls.
Second interception thrown today by Pickler after he threw just 3 in London's first 4 games. So Tyree now with 1 minute left. They'll start inside their own 20-yard line, and Duncan will start this drive with a gain of 6.
And that's what they want to do. I mean, again, as you mentioned, you're talking about it's a minute left in the first half. You don't want to do anything too crazy here. You don't want to try and go for it all here and throw the ball down the field. Just run your standard sort of offense here. Get into halftime. You already have the lead. You've done well so far.
You've got a strong kicker to rely on in Zashtel Black, who is an all-star a season ago. From the 17, they will run it, though. Duncan with a spin move, and a nice run there from Marcus Duncan, another rookie showing out.
Okay, so apparently he doesn't want us talking about the spin moves that Robert Merrill does. So he shows his talent, the rookie out of Madison, 22nd overall pick. Great play there. Great spin move from Marcus Duncan.
See if Sioux Falls tries to get aggressive here. We know they're typically a more conservative offense with Tyree at the helm, and now there's only 30 seconds left. Tyree will throw it to Duncan. Runs into a duo of Knights. It's Russell again. It's been 21 against 21 for this whole game, Jay, and that might take us to the half.
Yeah, that it has. One thing London is going to have to look into doing, though, at halftime, they're going to have to get out of that 4-4 defense that they're in whenever Sioux Falls comes out in a heavy set. Reason being is because it makes them susceptible to those screen plays for Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls will line it up, and they will snap it with 1 second left. This could be risky, but it will just be a dump off to Duncan. Another catch for the rookie, tackled by Tanner Hendricks. And that is how the first half will end. We've seen a lot of Robert Duncan, even more of Robert Merrill. He's at it again, but the blocked PAT is the difference. And after one half, Sioux Falls leads it 7-6.
This has been one heck of a game. Pretty quick halftime there, but what we've seen is, I would say, what we expected. But what do you expect from the guy who's actually leading the league in pretty much every rushing category that there is? 14 carries, 124 yards rushing for Robert Merrill. He's just been putting on a clinic here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
What's crazy, Jay, is that, you hinted at this earlier, is that both teams will look at the number one rushing offense versus number one rushing defense, London against Sioux Falls, and they won't really care that that's the other team's strength because this is the game plan. So far, London has dominated that aspect of the game. There's no question about it. They've got about 3 times as many rushing yards in one half than Sioux Falls normally gives up in a game, but London typically scores more than 40 points per game on average, and in one half they've only scored 6, so that's a successful first half for the Sparrows. No question about it. Here's Merrill with the sidestep. Gain of about 6, and so you hold London to just 6 points. Their season low for points in a game this year is 30, and that came in week 1. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you pointed that out. I mean, the reality is we've been harping over Robert Merrill, and deservedly so. You're having 124 yards here in the first half rushing. But, again, as you mentioned, 6 points for London, that's not anything even close to what they've done all season long. They've done way better.
42.5 points on average, by far best in the league. Merrill shakes through, gets another first down, and he continues to absolutely dominate. But, I mean, really, it's just the definition of bend but don't break. I mean, even on the drive that London scored, they bent but didn't break because Barnhart chased down Merrill, completely surprising me, and stopped the touchdown. Yeah, he scored a couple of plays later, but other than that, London has not been able to capitalize.
Yeah, you're right. And one thing, though, is this London coaching staff is going to have to look into making a little bit better decisions once they get into the red zone as well.
The red zone pick from Pickler on that most recent drive is a killer, no question. Another catch by Merrill, and somehow the defender just broke out of the block. Parent Ibarra was the guard. I didn't get it, the number of the defender, Jay, but he just broke away from Ibarra and somehow made an arm tackle.
Yeah, I believe that was Derek Williams there, 6'5", 260-pound linebacker. I mean, good luck trying to block him all game long. That was a great play there, though, getting off of that block and making a tackle in open field against number 20.
Earl has averaged over 250 total yards of offense. He's over 150 today. Pickler going for Matson. First time bench. He has got a target today, and that is swatted away. Third down coming up. Fargo on the coverage.
Nick Fargo, 10th season here in Sioux Falls. He's seen just about everything. You're not going to trick him too often with those little quick post routes or quick seam routes in the middle of the field. He's going to be sure to get his hand on the ball more often than not.
Fargo has been fantastic this season. Top 10 in the league in both tackles and pass deflections. Give him another one there. 3rd and 6. Pickler sidearm throw looking for Weary, and that could have been intercepted again. Great coverage by Sioux Falls. That's Nathan Barnett, the number 3 corner. One-on-one coverage, 4th down.
And the beautiful thing there that Sioux Falls did, they made sure to get up close and personal to those skill players on the outside for London. They played that man route there. I believe that was a 3-2 defense. It could have been a little different, but either way, that was a man defense that they had there to make sure that they had a hat on every skill player that London had. Love that defensive call there. Now they have to punt the ball away.
Shane O'Donnell will indeed punt it away. Our stats team, Dwayne Schindler and Chris Porter, have London at exactly 200 yards of offense after 2 quarters and 1 drive in the third on average through their first 4 games. All wins for the Knights. They have averaged 476 total yards of offense per game. That is by far the best in the league. 40 yards better than the next closest team. 100 yards better than the league average, which was 380 through 4 weeks. And so far, through 2 quarters and change, 200 yards of offense for the Knights. Tyree on play action from his own 20 will throw across his body, and somehow tiptoeing on the sidelines and making that catch is Kay Marion.
Yeah, great route there that was ran from Kay Marion there. But the thing that I'm noticing, London, obviously they didn't decide to change anything up. They just want to keep everything in front of them. I mean, Sioux Falls has been able to take advantage of those little 5-yard out routes. They've been able to take advantage of those screen plays as well. But again, they've only had 7 points on the board. So far, they've been doing very well defensively.
Tyree has been super efficient so far. 3 incompletions, but 2 of those have been picks. We'll throw it once again. Nice catch out of the backfield for Charlemagne Cornelius. The fullback has his first touch of the day. 10 total touches for him through 4 games, and he's on the board here tonight.
Yeah, great catch, but great closing there from Emmanuel Blackman. 4th season in the SFL, all here in London. Great job there closing to make sure to get a tackle.
Tyree is off to a fantastic start this season, and Decent game for him today despite those 2 picks. Duncan on the give, another first down. Tyree has completed better than 88% of his passes today. Again, 3 incompletions, and 2 of those incompletions were picks. So as other commentators in this league like to say, only 1 of his passes has hit the ground.
Exactly. I'm sure he would like for those numbers to be a little bit different in terms of what color jersey catches those balls, but you're exactly right.
I don't know who I stole that line for him, so I don't know who to give credit to. Maybe they'll tell me as we go along. Tyree, high throw and hauled in somehow. His receivers have helped him by making catches like that. That was nice. Gain of 9 for Marion.
Yeah, K. Marion just essentially got that 6'6", 22-pound frame around, and essentially was able to do almost like a power forward or a center in basketball, box out the defenders, and was able to catch the pass. Great job there.
Number 9 there, one of the best receiving, average receivers in the league, I'm trying to say, as Duncan gets snowed under, no gain. Gagne on the stop. Marion had 360 receiving yards through 4 games for Sioux Falls on only 20 catches. So she was 12th in the league in receiving yards and in average yards per catch, 18, despite not being in the top 40 in the league in receptions. So she is a real big hitter for this Sioux Falls offense. So far, they've only used her for intermediate route gains, though, so far today. 3rd and 1, Duncan alone in the backfield. They will give it to him, and London was ready for that one. That's what London has done so far today. They've run it on 3rd down. Sioux Falls tries to do it. No dice, another stop from Frosby.
Cam Frosby. Hey, what do they say in football? Low man wins. The low man won that time for sure. He just shot through that offensive line and was able to get in the backfield and make the tackle there. Great tenacity and great energy there from Cam Frosby.
Frosby is off to a fantastic start this season. The punt from Prefontaine nearly blocked. Fair catch called for and made by Terrence Weary. Esports TV has partnered with the SFL to bring sim football to millions of homes over the next 2 years. ESTV is the world's first 24/7 live linear and video on-demand esports channel, available everywhere through your smart TV, on your phone, through Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and more. Visit estv.co to learn more about its programming and to find all the ways you can catch the SFL action on the network. It's one of many awesome new initiatives that Cameron Irvine and company have been putting together to help make this league the best it can be. Robert Merrill, the best he's ever been so far, and he breaks off another huge run. A gain of 17 for Robert Merrill across the 40-yard line on one play.
And yet, what do they rely on once again? Another tackle that has to come from number 42 in black and yellow. He has to hit him down the field. Otherwise, he's going to be gone once again. I mean, this London, what more can you say at this point other than wow?
Wow, it's just about all I can say about what I've seen from Robert Merrill so far. We go to him again. Better stop this time by Sioux Falls defensively. That's Strongbow, the sophomore linebacker, on the stop. So Merrill averages 31 touches for 257 all-purpose yards and 3.75 touchdowns, if you'll allow that math, through 4 games. So far, he's got about approaching 200 total yards of offense and a touchdown. So he has done his job. So far, the rest of the London offense, really no shows so far, if we're honest. Pickler to throw, Weary again to catch, and that's more like it. Johnny Pickler with a dot, Weary hauls it in.
Yeah, and here's the thing. More often than not, that's what you're going to see. We have to give credit to Sioux Falls. You know, Sioux Falls has just made it very difficult for London to do anything in the passing game. Now, obviously, getting the ball to Robert Merrill has been a success, but it's been very difficult for them to make yards or get yards through the air.
Run it. Merrill gets a couple that time. They'll say just one. A couple of defenders were there, as well as Biff Markham and Mike Wagner, 50 and 51. The Sioux Falls defense has been tremendous, like we said. Through 4 games, they're averaging 15 and a quarter points allowed. That's best in the league. On average, teams are scoring 27 points per game through 4 weeks. Sioux Falls allows just a tick over 15, and so far through 2.5 quarters, just 6 allowed against London, the number 1 offense. Pickler's throw swatted up high in the air by Fargo, and then it ends up falling on the turf. Sigh of relief for London.
As we mentioned earlier, Tim, Nick Fargo has been in this league long enough at this point. He's seen everything. There's a lot of linebackers that we have in our league that would not have been able to make that play because their eyes would have been in different areas. Not Nick Fargo. He knows exactly where to look. He knows exactly the play to make. Great job there.
Johnny Pickler's quarterback rating, as you see, 33.6 before today, a league best 120. 3rd and 9. Pickler deep bomb, hauled in by Fox Highwind, and London is back on the board. A beauty from Johnny Pickler. Touchdown number 2 for the Fox.
And this defense was not expecting that at all. They were up closer than they needed to be on that play. And look at this. Look at that route that was ran there. 34 there for Sioux Falls. He decides to jump to try to make a play there, but he jumps in the wrong direction, which isn't going to happen too often because Terrell Davis, as I mentioned earlier, one of the best cornerbacks we have in the league. Unfortunately, he just misread the pass there. But it's very easy to do when you've got players like Fox Highwind and you've got a quarterback like Johnny Pickler throwing in the ball. Great play call, great route, great pass from London. Touchdown.
London will go for the PAT, up by only 5. Remember, their only other attempt today from JT Delaney was blocked. No problem that time. Pickler to Fox Highwind for the 2nd time today. Touchdown pass number 10 this season for Johnny Pickler. That's a top 5 mark in the league. And suddenly that quarterback rating is going to look a whole lot better for Pickler, but those 2 picks still do hurt. But that snaps the schneid for London. They scored on their first drive of the game. Remember that long touchdown run from Robert Merrill ended up setting him up to score from inside the 5. And then 4 straight drives for London ending in 0 points, either interceptions or punts. And finally the Knights are back in the end zone and have the lead for the 2nd time today. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for info about the league and its 28 teams. All the places you can watch live games, plus links to apparel from Sector 6 and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. See all the league records, team stats, player leaderboards, and the rankings of the next class of SFL talent, and so much more. SimulationFL.net, your home for everything SFL. These 2 teams have called the SFL home for a long time. 2 of the longest tenured teams, franchises I should say, in league history, as Terrazas has a gain of 5. This is the 10th season of London Knights football and the 14th season of Sioux Falls Sparrows football here in the SFL. This is only the 4th all-time meeting between these 2 franchises, which is a surprise, and all of them have been since season 14. So March 2020 was the first meeting between these 2 teams, and Sioux Falls has won all 3. Trailing now here for the 2nd time. Tyree, high pass, hauled in by Cornelius, and they will give him the first down, they say. Emmanuel Blackman combines with Tony Roberto to make that tackle. First time we've really talked about Blackman today, who's kind of had a quiet season statistically after he made his first All-Star game a season ago.
And I think that's something they're going to try to do more often too, Tim. Get the ball to Charlemagne Cornelius out there. He can make plays.
His 2nd catch. We'll go to the top of the screen this time. Another catch for Duncan, who gets shoved down. Nice tackle, no gain.
Yeah, you're talking about making plays. How often have we said 21 tackles, 21? Jack Russell there. It's almost as if like he's the spy for Marcus Duncan coming out of backfield. And it's actually a great game plan from London. They've done a fantastic job here against the Sioux Falls offense.
To your point, Chris Porter and Dwayne Schindler have Jack Russell at 11 tackles. That's crazy. Well, that won't be a tackle for Russell, but it will be another tackle against Duncan. That's Telemax Scarborough, the linebacker, who jumps in and makes the play.
Yeah, 99 has been called out a ton as well. Telemax Scarborough has done a great job making sure to get in the backfield as often as he can.
Unbelievable game for Scarborough and also for Russell. Play action now on 3rd and 10. Tyree sets and throws this way, caught. That out route costs them this time, Jay. It has worked so often, and especially for Warren. That's how he scored his touchdown. But this time, he keeps it 2 yards short.
Yeah, but what's so unfortunate about this play is that was actually the right decision there from Julian Tyree. There, London decided to follow. They decided to get that cornerback man-to-man on the opposite side of the field and wide receiver on the opposite side. I don't remember if it was K. Marion or Noe Terrazas, but he was following that following that wide receiver the entire time. It was a great decision from Julian Tyree. Unfortunately, he threw the ball a little bit too shallow there and it led his wide receiver out of bounds, and now it's 4th and 2, and they're going to punt it.
Another punt coming up from Prefontaine. Sioux Falls scored early on in the second quarter, and since then they have not sniffed the red zone at all. And another fair catch from Terrence Weary. We've mentioned the London highlights on offense because there are so many, but this defense has been excellent so far this season as well. 4th best in terms of points per game. Remember, Sioux Falls is number 1. They're 8th against the pass and 5th against the run, so 5th in total yards, fewer than 350 per game. They've given up only 6 total touchdowns, now make it 7 after today. The list goes on and on. Plus 10 turnover differential as Merrill gets snowed under. No gain. Plus 10 turnover differential, Jay, that is best in the league. They were plus 3 last week against Motor City, but so far today, it is a flat 0. That meter does not favor either team.
Yeah, that's been incredibly impressive, really, by both teams. Listen, this game has been going by extremely fast. I don't know if I'm just enjoying myself, calling a game here with you, Tim, or what. But this game is flying by.
20 combined points, I guess, will contribute to that as well as Pickler's throw in stride. Nicely done. Hauled in by Vin Calia. First down. Oh, check that. It's Bryce Carter, 10, not 19. So everybody on this London offense getting involved. First catch for Carter.
Yeah, you get a pass, the kind of the Oprah Winfrey thing. And hey, but London's able to do it because of the amount of talent that they have on this team.
Pickler does not throw it very much, at least relative to the pack. He will throw it here, and why would you not throw it to Robert Merrill with the season he's having? Gain of 6, tackled by the Hall of Famer A.J. Levy. Pickler was 11th in the league in passing yards, despite being 23rd in pass attempts. We have the 6th best completion percentage, 3rd in touchdowns, fewest interceptions, best quarterback rating at north of 120, best in yards per attempt at 9.4. That's by far the best in that metric. So even though Merrill is stealing the show because he's putting together a career season, Pickler has been excellent when they've needed him. Merrill again is plastered. I mean, he has dominated for the brunt of this game, Jay, but Sioux Falls has still been able to tee off on him a couple times. That time it was Kelly.
Yeah, and I think at this point, this offensive line may be getting worn down a little bit. Great tackle there from James Kelly because this defensive line for Sioux Falls has been able to get in the backfield a lot more often here in the second half.
Another good season so far for Kelly, who's come on strong recently. 3rd down. Pickler feels the heat. Now he's going to tuck and run. A quarterback scramble. And Pickler slides for the first down. You never see that in this league, Jay. Typically, if you see that, it's for the quarterback on the other team, Julian Tyree. But now Johnny Pickler with a page out of that playbook. Pickler can do it all. And that touchdown pass to Fox Highwind has put the Knights back on top. Done with 3, it's 13-7. This is the SFL presented by APM Music, live on Twitch. Johnny Pickler with a scramble for a first down. Now I've seen everything. Welcome back to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tim Hackett, Jay Hayden with Dwayne Schindler, Chris Porter, and Cameron Irvine. Happy to have you with us here this evening. One more quarter to go. This game has lived up to the billing. So is Robert Merrill, but a gain of just 1 for him there.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that last play, Tim. You know what I think that was? I think Johnny Pickler just got jealous of Robert Merrill. I think that's exactly what it was. I think he got tired of Robert Merrill getting all the rushing yards, and Pickler said, look what I can do, and he gets a first down. That was a great job there from Pickler.
You rarely see quarterbacks do that in this league, and when they do, that's why it's so impressive. Nice throw this time from Pickler. Calia wrenches away from the tackle attempt by John Barnhart. He will still be a couple of yards short. That was a gain of 10 yards on the ground for Johnny Pickler. So to your point, he is just jealous of Robert Merrill, who usually averages 8.5 yards per carry. So far now on rushes, Pickler averaging 10 yards per carry. Top that.
Yeah, exactly. Top that, Robert Merrill.
He's been quiet so far here in the second half. Remember, he was safely over 120 total yards through the first half, and the third quarter a lot quieter. See if he can get back to it. No, he can't. They run it on 3rd and 1, and Derek Williams and company were there to make the stop. Jay Ringgold there to help. Darius Hawkins in there as well. A whole flock of sparrows stopping Merrill on 3rd down.
Yeah, and again, I'm not sure really what it is, here, but what it seems like to me is just this defensive line has just gotten more energy as this game has gone on. And again, I don't know if it's that or if the offensive line is just getting a little worn down, but having to lean on this really powerful and really heavy defensive line that is Sioux Falls. But I mean, this defensive line has done a great job here in the second half, kind of keeping Robert Merrill under wraps as best as they can.
As best as they can. It's something that all teams have struggled with. But again, I mean, maybe Sioux Falls and, of course, every other team that's going to play London this year can take some lessons away from Motor City, who held Robert Merrill to just 103 rushing yards last week. Now, frankly, if you'll accept this from me, that would be one of the best rushing games of Merrill's career because he just hadn't had many 100-yard rushing games before this season. But compared to what he did the previous week, that was nothing. And Sioux Falls has really snowed him under here in the second half. No gain on that play for Duncan. Another tackle for Russell. That's unbelievable. The previous week against Canton, Robert Merrill had over 400 total yards and 6 total touchdowns. And then last week against Motor City, just about 150 total yards of offense and 3 total touchdowns. So the VH shut him down relative to what his first 3 opponents did. 2nd and 10, Marion on that catch and a gain of 8.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that needs to be said, and it really boils down to one word with that London offense. They're really just balanced if we really think about it. That's all it is. It's just they're a very balanced team, and that's not what they've been in the past, and that's why it's been so impressive and it's been so awe-inspiring for us because we're so used to seeing them air the ball out all game long, and that's just not what they've done this season.
It's a complete 180-degree turn, right? I mean, last year Pickler was first in the league in attempts. Merrill was last in the league in rushing attempts. Pretty much flipped both of those scripts this year, and that's led London to a 4-0 record. High throw from Tyree, and another first down for the Sparrows. Out to the 40-yard line, that's Marion again.
Yeah, and again, she did the same exact thing on that play that she did in the third quarter, where they just make sure to get her in a space in the middle of the field. She's not wide open, but get her into that space and allow her to turn so you can see that jersey. Nobody's going to be able to get past her at 6'6", 222, and she's just able to leap up and get the ball.
Sparrows will spread it out. All slants through Tyree, who throws it into traffic and swatted away by Jeff Gagne once again. He's got 2 picks this season, Jay, including one last week. He had 6 interceptions over his first 4 seasons. Could have had one there.
Yeah, and again, it's just that experience. That's all that is. Him knowing exactly where to look. The same way we talked about Nick Fargo. Jeff Gagne kind of has that same sort of instinct. He knows exactly what to do in the middle of the field. He knows where to watch. He knows all the keys. And there he gets a pass deflection on that play.
2nd and 10 now. 2 wides and 2 tights. Duncan on the give. Thrown down again by Jack Russell. This is one of the best single-man defensive performances that you are going to see. That's now more than a dozen tackles for Jack Russell tonight.
You know, I talked about not wanting your safety to lead the team in tackles. Forget that. You get Jack Russell there, 13 tackles. Good God, he is destroying Marcus Duncan in the backfield.
And unbelievable. Another high throw from Tyree. Contact there near the points. Anthony Wyo, the veteran safety, was there. So was one wide receiver, but again, that pass from Tyree offline, 4th down.
Yeah, and you said that perfectly there, Tim. It was just a bad pass there. He led him, and now, granted, he tried to put it in an area where he felt it would be best for his for his offense as opposed to for the defense. But unfortunately, he really threw it in probably the most dangerous area that he could have, throwing it that high and throwing it that far. Unfortunately for Sioux Falls.
Just the 5th incomplete pass today from Tyree, if our stats team are to be believed, and I would tend to believe them. Another high punt from Prefontaine. Weary will try to return it for the first time. He's got nowhere to go. The SFL produces over 400 live events each year, but don't miss community content creators and their creations. Catch SFL Nights with AJ Stryker, Say It With Your Chest with Eddie Gage, Around the SFL, and more covering Season 19 and beyond. Check out archived versions of community shows. Visit simulationfl.net and click the logo of your favorite form of SFL entertainment on our homepage. So far this season, it feels like Robert Merrill has been the best form of SFL entertainment. Pickler will go away from him here. Nice throw, 1st down. That is Vincalia. That's what we thought would be on the previous drive. 1st down, Knights.
Yeah, and Vin Callier just snatched the ball out of the air there. I mean, where Johnny Pickler threw the ball, honestly, that could have been an interception if not for the incredible catch there. I mean, he just stretched out those arms to make sure he brought that ball in. Great catch there from Vin Callier.
Pickler's really taken a couple of pages out of the Tyree playbook. Flags fly here as Merrill gets driven down for a loss of 3. We'll check the marker. 14 completions now for Pickler. 6 have gone to Robert Merrill, so 8 now to everybody else, including just 3 to Vin Callier, who's the team's leader in that category. Now let's check the marker. Offsides against James Kelly.
Yeah, not what you want there, and you understand what it is. I mean, there's just, there's that want to make a play there, in the backfield, but you've got to stay within the rule books. Unfortunately for Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls clearly trying to get some advantage against this run game, but that's the second time today they've been called offside. So 1st and 5 for the second time today. Merrill trying to stretch it outside, and Sioux Falls right back to it. Terrell Davis on the stop along with Jason Strongbow.
Yeah, and I've talked about the defensive line and them making a ton of plays there, but that really was those defensive backs shooting upfield to get to Robert Merrill. This defense has just been reinvigorated. I mean, they've been re-energized here in the second half, trying to make sure that they don't let Robert Merrill get down the field.
Figured the 2 games in this window here this evening on Next Level Sports would be good, and they have been. Merrill the give, tackled after a gain of 2 by Derek Williams, so the 2 young linebackers getting involved on back-to-back plays. Vancouver against DC, a pair of teams that come into today at 3-1. That game in the 4th quarter on Next Level Sports with Mike Daggs and Gerald Smith right here on Twitch. Tim Hackett and Jay Hayden, another 1-touchdown game. 4-0 London against 3-1 Sioux Falls. Biggest test of the season so far for both teams. Coming down to the wire. 3rd down and 3. Merrill outside. Williams again with the tackle. 3rd-year outside linebacker Derek Williams against early season MVP frontrunner Robert Merrill. He tackles him twice in 2 plays.
He's made some incredible defensive plays in this game. We saw earlier in the first half where he was able to get off of a block and tackle Robert Merrill in open field. And here he just tracks down Robert Merrill in open field. Unbelievable talent and agility from a 6'5", 260-pound linebacker there in open field for Sioux Falls. Great job.
Turnable here for Levy, who breaks out of the first hit and then ends up moving the wrong way. So Sioux Falls will start from the 35. Remember, the Sparrows have not scored since early in the 2nd quarter when Tyree linked up with A.J. Warren. Since then, not a lot doing on offense. We mentioned London came into the 3rd quarter with about 200 total yards. Now they're at about 330 total yards unofficially. Sioux Falls is stuck at 218, including 30 rushing yards total for Marcus Duncan and Charlemagne Cornelius. Here goes Duncan, nothing doing there. And remember, 30 rushing yards now for Duncan, approximately 175 approximately for Robert Merrill. And these 2 teams are not the same in that category.
No, they're not. And we talked about the balance that London has, and it's been anything but that for Sioux Falls. 35 pass attempts for Julian Tyree and only 15 rushes for Marcus Duncan, but certainly it's because of the effectiveness from one side in comparison to the other.
2nd and 8. Another short throw for Tyree. He's lived there this season. Duncan makes the catch, short gain. And so contrary to what we were talking about with Pickler, who does not have a ton of attempts, but it leads the league in yards per attempt at 9.4. See Pickler there in the foreground, coincidentally enough. Tyree is 7th in the league in pass attempts, but 15th in yards per attempt because so many of his passes go to Marcus Duncan, 40% of them, in fact. On 3rd down, the pass is dropped and then caught on the rebound by A.J. Warren. Miles Portis dropped it, and then Warren comes back for the ball and hauls it in, but it will still be 4th down. That was unbelievable. I thought that was going to fall incomplete for sure. Warren somehow saves it and now gives Sioux Falls the opportunity here on 4th down. No challenge coming from Jason McGee. 4th down, here's Duncan, and he won't break through. Jeff Gagne is the wall, and a 4th down stop on defense for the Knights. One-on-one tackle. Jeff Gagne against the rookie Marcus Duncan. They go to the rookie on 4th and 1, potentially the ball game, with Sioux Falls scuffling on offense. And Jeff Gagne, the 5th-year middle linebacker, working on a career season with another great play. So London takes over already in enemy territory. Here goes Robert Merrill, lowers the shoulder and picks up just a couple. Next weekend, Next Level Sports coverage of the SFL continues with a pair of exciting matchups. On Saturday, watch the surprising and rising 3-1 Minnesota Legend face the unbeaten London Knights, this team you're watching right now, in a championship contender litmus test. Sunday, a pair of Pacific rivals will attempt to get out of the division cellar when Seattle hosts Portland. For a channel guide and more info about NXT, visit NLSE.com. Gain of 1 on the ground for Robert Merrill. This is the new patented London formation with 2 backs leading the way for Merrill, who will stretch it outside, inside the 30-yard line he goes. 178 rushing yards now today for Robert Merrill. That average lower than usual, but he has been dynamite. Merrill entered today 213 yards from 1,000 this season. Again, this is just game number 5. He's already set a career high in rushing yards, now over 900 this season. His previous career high came early on in his career when he had 680. Offsides again go the Sparrows. Barnhart makes the hit on Merrill in the backfield. That's Markham as well, but I think we know what this is going to be. It will be offsides for the 3rd time today against Sioux Falls, and that's James Kelly called for the 2nd time. And it does bear repeating, as the chat reminds me. Sioux Falls, the number 1 rush defense in the SFL through 4 weeks. They allow 47 yards on average per game on the ground. Merrill approaching 200 yards by himself, over 175. 3rd offsides penalty against Sioux Falls. London trying to put this game out of reach. Merrill running right. Williams again with the tackle. And Jay, you pointed this out. I mean, Derek Williams, combine him with Nick Fargo, who's one of the all-time greats at that position, and now Strongbow apparently coming on strong as well. How about this linebacker trio?
Yeah, my apologies there to the Sioux Falls, to the SFL Nation. Too many fireworks have knocked the power out here in Alabama, but it's been a great job for sure for Robert Merrill, as we pretty much expected.
You're good, man. Don't worry. Anytime we can get you on, we are happy to have you. So thank you for being with us. They snap it before the 2-minute warning. That is a surprise. And Sioux Falls was ready to blow off there like a firework. Biff Markham with the hit in the backfield. 1 minute, 58 seconds left. London by 6. This is the SFL presented by 8 PM Music, live on Twitch. Well, folks, it's a barn burner in South Dakota. London was favored by 10.5 on the road, but right now they lead by only 6. Biggest test of the season so far for both teams, and another 3rd down opportunity for the Knights. Pickler lofts it into traffic, swatted away, absolutely rejected by 5th-year corner Nathan Barnett.
Yeah, he just got a little greedy there. I think he wanted to make a pass to try to go ahead, obviously, to try to put this game away early. But you don't want to make a kind of pass there that's going to lead to the other team getting the ball. Fortunately for them, it didn't result in a turnover. Unfortunately, it also didn't result in a 1st down.
This could be the dagger for London. JT Delaney, in his 2nd tour of duty as the kicker for the London Knights, has made all 8 of his field goal attempts through 4 weeks, including from 42 yards last week. Pulled down from Brady Maynard, and Delaney's kick is good from 44. Delaney delivers for the first time tonight, and the Knights go up by 9.
How impressive has this London Knights team been? I mean, really all season long at this point, but particularly in this game. We're talking about a team who has never beaten Sioux Falls. You talked about the history. One team having been in the SFL for 10 seasons. One team having been in the SFL for 14 seasons. But London has never beaten Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls has been to the championship game twice, 2 times in a row, as a matter of fact. London has an opportunity now to defeat this team here in South Dakota and go 5-0. What a job London has done.
JT Delaney has been money. That's what they call him for London over the course of his career. Spent 2 seasons elsewhere, but now back with the London Knights, the team with which he started his career. He's missed just 4 field goals in his first 5 seasons, and he is good once again. He's now 9 of 9 this season. Look at those numbers for Marcus Duncan. The exact same stat line as he had last week. 15 carries, an average of 1.9 yards per carry for the second straight week. But for Sioux Falls, they're staring at a different result. As Tyree dots it, swatted away by Jeff Gagne. Another pass deflection for him.
Yeah, just you said it perfectly. Yet another pass deflection. Why? Because he just knows this guy knows exactly what he's looking for, and you're gonna have to catch him. You're gonna have to catch him napping in order to get that ball around him on those kinds of post plays. Great job and great pass deflection there from number 92.
Well, just 103 seconds left in the ball game. Sioux Falls down by 9. They're going to need a march down the field, which is something they have not been able to do at all tonight against this London defense. Tyree's pass is behind his target. That is Miles Portis. We've called his name quite a bit. 3rd down and 3 now. Here comes the hurry up. They'll spread it out. No dunking here in this formation. Tyree has time, throws into traffic, and there's a lot of bodies there on both sides. Jay Terrazas on the target. Guess who was there on the coverage? Jack Russell, Tanner Hendricks, etc.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, right? Surprise, surprise that you see number 21 making a play for London. But like you mentioned before, Tanner Hendricks also was playing man-to-man on that wide receiver. He pretty much had no shot of catching the ball there.
This is it. 4th down and 3 now from the 35-yard line. Sioux Falls trying to earn a statement win and knock London from the ranks of the unbeaten. Tyree steps and throws. He'll launch, and it's caught. Sioux Falls has new life. What a throw under pressure from Julian Tyree. Michael Knight, the rookie, hasn't done anything all game, Jay. That's his first catch, and that puts Sioux Falls inside the 35.
Yeah, and I'm thinking right now, Sioux Falls are thinking their lucky stars that they decided at pick number 77, they decided to take Michael Knight out of Ottawa. A great job there, and really and truly, I mean, let's be honest, that was one heck of a pass from Julian Tyree there in the open space to find Michael Knight to catch that ball there.
He had a big game last week, just 2 catches, but they went for 46 yards, and both of his catches were important ones. That is as important as they get. Knight strikes against the Knights. Could it get more perfect? From the 35, short throw this time from Tyree, a little bit behind his target, but it's caught. Another nice game. That was Terrazas. Look at Sioux Falls march. Now from the 21, Tyree behind his target, tip, and caught for the second time this quarter. A.J. Warren on the rebounds. That's unbelievable.
One of the best catches I've ever seen.
It's unbelievable. He's done it twice. Now from the 9, Tyree into the end zone, and that falls through everybody. Now everybody will get the chance to catch their breath. William Davidson, the ageless wonder, 10th season defensive lineman, now playing defensive end, laid the wood on Tyree and rushed that throw.
Yeah, he had to get rid of the ball there for sure. William Davidson was doing everything he could to try to obliterate Julian Tyree in the backfield. He had to get rid of the ball. Very dangerous pass nonetheless, but fortunately for them, the ball fell harmlessly to the ground.
You get an assist on a catch like you can in a goal in hockey or soccer, because Miles Portis should get 2 assists on catches by A.J. Warren today. Play action from Tyree. He will run right into the traffic. Down he goes. What a time for that sack for London. They have had no pressure today against Tyree at all, and that is their first sack, and it's courtesy of William Davidson.
Yeah, he didn't get a chance to get to him in time on the last play, but that wasn't an issue on that particular play.
His first sack, just his second sack of this season. He's one of the all-time greatest. Sorry to cut you off, Jay. He's one of the all-time greatest pass rushers in league history. William Davidson, top 6 all-time in sacks and TFLs. He wreaks havoc there. 3rd and goal from the 17. Tyree with a lineman in his face. His throw is behind a duo of receivers. It was Warren on the target, but when all is said and done, Jay, that's really not the worst result. We'll still bring out Black for a field goal. London defense has been tremendous this season. We mentioned how Sioux Falls is leading the league in points per game allowed as a defense, 15 and a quarter, but London not far behind, 18 points allowed per game. So far, Sioux Falls held to single digits, but this is a chip shot really for Zashtel Black made the All-Star game last season as a rookie. London sends the house, but Black knocks it through from 33 yards. He has now made 12 field goals so far this season, third most in the league, second most attempts, and Zashtel Black has given Sioux Falls a very stable option in the special teams category.
Here's the most exciting play in football. Onside kick here. Let's see what happens.
That stellar drive from the Sparrows gave them a chance. And now Black with the onside kick sends it too long. It's bobbled. It's still loose.
Who's going to get it?
Who's got it?
I think Sioux Falls got it.
Unbelievable. Yes. Sparrow football.
Wow.
Unbelievable. That's JT Lane, one of the safeties that ends up falling on it. Touched about a half dozen hands.
This game looked borderline out of reach about 30 seconds ago, and now Sioux Falls has the ball with one timeout at their own 43, only down by 6. What a game.
London was up by 9 with 1:43 left. Sioux Falls now with a chance. A.J. Warren on the catch, tackled inbounds by Hendricks. Wow, that's massive. Under 30 to go. Sioux Falls has one timeout. Remember that blocked PAT on the first scoring drive. Zipped it. Nice throw there from Tyree.
Great pass there from Julian Tyree. They've got to hurry up and get on this ball here, though.
12 seconds left. That was Terrazas on the catch. They will snap it with no spike. Again, Tyree floats it up. Again, it's caught. Unbelievable. Terrazas again.
Right there in the middle of the field. You go to your playmakers. You go to your playmakers as often as you can, and you've got somebody who's been there for 14 seasons like Julian Tyree. He knows what to do. 9 seconds left in this game, Tim.
Called their timeout. That was their third and final. So, Jay, realistically, you got 2 shots at the end zone here, right, if things go quickly. 9 seconds. Duncan in the backfield with 3 wides. Tyree drops back. He'll throw towards the end zone. Dropped by Hendricks. That would have sealed the game. A guy with 4 career defensive touchdowns could have ended it with that interception. The Sparrows will have one more chance to fly.
Yeah, and Julian Tyree kind of pulled on that pass a little bit too much. If he would have put a little bit more air on that ball, there's a strong chance that that would have been a touchdown. Unfortunately for Sioux Falls, it was not. Probably last play right here, Tim.
3 wides and now 2 in the backfield for Julian Tyree, the 14-season veteran. The pass is caught.
Not where you want to go.
Well, shorts. That's not what they needed in that situation. London survives. The Knights move to 5-0. They hold on against Sioux Falls in a thriller. The final score, London 16, Sioux Falls 10, a defensive battle.
That it was, and to be honest with you, Tim, I think that's kind of what we expected for the most part. I mean, although London has an incredible offense and has scored a ton of points all season long, you don't come into Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and put up a bunch of points against this Sioux Falls Sparrow team. Nonetheless, what most teams don't do, they don't come to Sioux Falls and pull out a victory. London, for the first time in franchise history, does just that. This team is not 1-0. They're not 2-0. This team is 5-0, and their biggest test of the season, they come out with an A+ effort. Great job from London. Great effort from Sioux Falls. They just weren't able to beat one of the better teams that we have here in the SFL. And again, as we mentioned earlier, it's not as if they're one-dimensional. In speaking of London, this team is a balanced team. They can do it passing the ball because they have the weapons like Ben Callia, who had 3 catches for 25 yards. They can do it on the ground with one of the best, if not the best player in the SFL, and Robert Merrill, who had 29 carries and 165 yards on the ground. Great job from London.
Any doubt who the player of the game is going to be?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not is right. Robert Merrill, 200 total yards of offense and another touchdown. He was shut down to an extent, but he dominates once again. The legend of Merrill continues, and London wins its tightest game of the season. Sioux Falls holds the #1 scoring offense in the league to just 16 points, but that was enough for the Knights tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. For Dwayne Schindler and Chris Porter in the stat truck, Cameron Irvine behind the scenes, and my partner Jay Hayden, I've been Tim Hackett. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long. Once again, your final, London 16, Sioux Falls 10.